Have you ever just stared at a blank screen? You've got this absolutely brilliant concept in your head, but then you're completely overwhelmed by the actual mechanics of bringing it to life on screen. I mean, how exactly do you translate a single fleeting idea into a fully produced, visually stunning video without a massive Hollywood budget or, weeks of editing time? It's a frustration that stops so many great ideas dead in their tracks. That blinking cursor, it's incredibly intimidating. But what if the barrier between your big idea and a polished final product was just a few lines of strategic text?
Well, welcome to today's Explainer. We are going to be completely demystifying the whole video creation workflow using Google Workspace, Gemini, and Google Vids. We'll be unpacking the exact prompting strategies that can take you from a rough, back-of-the-napkin concept straight through to execution. So if you want to learn how to leverage AI to scale your creative output, save yourself a literal ton of time, and build completely custom visual universes, you're in exactly the right place.
All right, here's a quick look at our roadmap for today. We'll be covering 1. Defining your video's purpose, 2. Core content and storytelling, 3. The visual prompting framework, 4. Designing custom visual identities, and 5. Enhancing your video visuals. Let's get right into it.
Okay, let's dive into this. Section 1. Defining your video's purpose. Before you even think about typing a prompt or generating a single image, you really have to anchor your project in practical business reality. Depending on your business goal, you want to focus your video on one of 3 core deliverable types. First up is the product demo. This one is all about showcasing exactly how a feature, product, or service works to solve a specific problem for your user. Second, we have company announcements. Think of this as communicating key updates or major milestones across your teams or directly to clients in a highly engaging way. And third is training and onboarding, so providing that step-by-step guidance, employee onboarding material, or skill development content. By just choosing one of these lanes right away, you give your AI assistant a super clear operational target, and that saves you hours of aimless generation.
Moving right along to Section 2, Core Content and Storytelling.
To build a story that actually hooks people, your initial prompt needs 3 core pillars. First, you gotta explicitly describe your target message. What is the actual core truth you're trying to convey here? Second, define your specific audience. Who exactly is watching this? Because let's be real, a group of engineers requires a very different script than a group of brand new marketing interns, right? And third, outline the key takeaways. What do you want them to remember long after the video ends? By feeding these 3 pillars into your simple prompting, you are giving the AI a master blueprint for your video's script and pacing. It immediately shifts the AI from just spitting out words to actually crafting a targeted, purposeful story.
Now, when it comes to presenter delivery, Google Vids gives you a couple of incredibly powerful options to make sure your message is polished. On one hand, if you want to be on camera to keep that personal connection, you can use the built-in read-along teleprompter to record yourself delivering the message flawlessly. It totally removes the stress of memorizing a script. But on the other hand, if you don't want to be on camera, or maybe you just need to scale production quickly without setting up lights and microphones, you can actually select an AI avatar to present the content for you. Both options make sure your carefully crafted story is delivered professionally every single time.
All right, Section 3, the visual prompting framework.
Getting consistent visual results with AI isn't magic. It's really just about using a very specific formula. I like to think of Gemini as a brilliant new hire. To get the best out of him, you need a 4-part structure. Step 1 is persona. You absolutely must define Gemini's role. Tell it to act as a brand manager or a creative director. Step 2 is the task, which is the actual specific action or visual design task you need done. Step 3 is context, where you feed it the target audience, the business concept, or the design vibe. And finally, Step 4 is format. Tell the AI exactly how you want the visual output structured, whether that's a mood board summary, a bulleted list, whatever you need. And this brilliantly illustrates that framework in action. Imagine you're helping a client launch a combined coffee shop and video game cafe. Look at how this prompt is structured. You are a brand manager and creative director. Boom, that's the persona. Generate a custom visual identity for a new coffee shop and video game cafe. There is the task. It then details the audience of modern gamers and remote workers looking for a vibrant atmosphere, which is the context. Finally, it asks to format the response with clear headings, the format. It hits every single structural requirement perfectly, pretty much guaranteeing you a highly usable response.
Which brings us to Section 4, Designing Custom Visual Identities.
When you're building a visual identity concept, like for our coffee and gaming cafe, consistency is everything. You have to lock in a consistent color palette and define typography by prompting for a very distinct aesthetic. Just look at the creative choices here. You could ask for modern and playful, explicitly calling out bold colors and a pixel art aesthetic to create this vibrant hangout vibe. Or, actually scratch that, maybe you want to pivot entirely and prompt for retro cool, focusing on a classic arcade vibe for some nostalgic gaming. Or you might want sleek and minimalist for a cleaner, modern coffee shop feel. Your descriptive language entirely alters the visual universe the AI builds for you. Locking this down early is a total game changer for saving time.
To get precise stylistic results, you really have to be specific with your aesthetic themes. You can't just type "make it look cool" or "make it professional." Those terms are way too subjective. You have to explicitly define the stylistic boundaries. You need to use specific, evocative terms like retro synthwave, minimalist pastel, or bold neon industrial. Giving the AI these exact boundaries is absolutely crucial for generating imagery that feels cohesive, high-end, and intentional, rather than just looking like random AI art.
And finally, Section 5, Enhancing your video visuals. Okay, you have the purpose, the story, and the visual identity. Now it's time for the end-to-end production pipeline. You can start by uploading your raw research into NotebookLM. Think of this tool as your brilliant AI researcher to extract core themes and build a comprehensive briefing doc. Then you bring that crystal-clear direction into Google Vids, which acts as your AI-powered editing assistant. Within Vids, you can use text prompts with Google's advanced model Veo to actually generate custom tailored video clips specifically for your project. And to keep the viewer completely engaged, you can apply dynamic motion to your existing static brand assets. It literally turns static images into dynamic viewing experiences.
So, the crucial point to remember to get the absolute best out of this workflow. Keep these principles in mind. First, be specific and define your exact aesthetic boundaries, like we talked about. Second, iterate and refine. Treat your prompt writing as a continuous conversation. If the output isn't quite right, just use a follow-up prompt to adjust the color palette or the tone. You don't have to start all over again. And third, and this is incredibly powerful, reference your workspace files. Directly tag your custom brand guidelines by typing the @ symbol and the file name, like @brandbrief, right inside your prompt. This instantly drowns the AI's output in your actual existing business data, ensuring the whole shebang stays completely on brand.
We've gone from staring at an intimidating blank screen to mastering a seriously powerful framework. You now know how to define your video's purpose, write a narrative with the 3 core pillars, use a 4-part framework for visual prompting, and enhance your final assets using an end-to-end AI pipeline. You possess the exact blueprint for translating a single idea into a fully produced video. So the only question left is, what visual universe will you build today? Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and I'll catch you next time.